Property Graduate is the show for aspiring property developers and investors to win a life-changing opportunity that money can't buy. The prize is twofold: forming a property company with renowned property guru John Howard and owning 50% of the shares. John is one of the most experienced property developers and investors in the UK today. With almost 4 decades experience in the industry, he's been there and done that, having purchased and sold around 4,000 homes, apartments and developments. This savvy businessman is putting £1 million of his own money into the new company so the winner can buy and develop a property. With a 50% stake in it, they'll automatically receive a 50% share of the profit and potentially have John as a business partner for life. You're watching Property Graduate. To become Property Graduate 2022, the competitors have to make it through a 3-part process. That's the interviews, the challenge, and the deal. There can only be one winner. John has enlisted the help of Helen Chorley and Fiona Talbot, both of whom are highly successful and experienced in property. In this episode, the first 10 applicants are interviewed by John, Helen and Fiona about the CVs they've submitted. The panel will consider the answers and only 5 will make it through to the next round of the show. So, let's meet our competitors. People of all ages and all levels of experience in property could apply to enter. As they began to arrive, there was excitement in the air and a lot of nerves too.
Thank you all so much for coming today. I know some of you have come a long way and we very much appreciate it. There was many applicants and you were picked as the top 20, so that's a great effort in itself. Today you might find us perhaps or you might feel that we're being a bit harsh to you at times, but it is always for your benefit. And Fiona is sometimes a little bit harsh, and Helen knows her numbers as you know, and may well pick you up on things. But it's nothing personal. We're here to help you as much as we can, and if we sound harsh, it's for a good reason. I'm going to pass you over to Alfie, who's going to say a few words because, of course, he was the Property Graduate 2021. Very good, thank you. Excellent. So, Alfie, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. So, John and I have been working together for about just under a year now, and it's worth saying that the competition doesn't entail a job role, but we've been working together fairly closely doing analysis and finding deals. So it's been a very good, not a long journey, but it's
felt long at times, Alfie, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's been very good fun,
yeah.
And it's a great opportunity for anyone that wins this, and you're all in a really good position to take forward this opportunity and really do well with it.
Super. Thank you, Alfie, and good luck to everybody.
Yeah, good luck. The winner is among you.
First up, we have Rama, who wrote in her application, "I really enjoy networking and meeting with like-minded individuals to discuss and continually expand my knowledge about all things property related."
Rima, you're the first one up. How are you feeling at the moment?
Yes, okay. A little bit nervous. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't. But sometimes it's good to be the first one in because you can just get in there, get it done with, and make a good impression. So that's all I want to do really today is make a good impression.
Rima, thank you so much for coming today. Tell us what inspired you to apply for the show.
Well, I've always loved all things property. Like I said on my application, I've always been interested in property of all kinds. There's not one specific kind that I'm interested in. It's the mentorship really is the key thing for me. It's invaluable. You wouldn't get that anywhere else. To me, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. Yourself as a mentor, John, really is the fact that you have such a varied and wide experience of different types of property as well.
Could be said because I'm old.
No, I think it's
been at it a long time.
You said it before we did.
You did. I got it in early this year. Yeah.
How long do you spend when you're reviewing a deal?
I think an hour is a good amount. I think if you can spend longer depending on how much diligence you want to do, but it depends the type of deal. If it's just a flip, you're really looking at your sold prices, how much are you going to spend on your refurb, what kind of, give a 10% contingency. If it's a piece of land, obviously there's more due diligence to do. It just depends on the type of deal. I think the bigger the deal, and you know, really, I'd like to go for something that's relatively straightforward. I don't like these very, very complex deals because there's too many, you know, it's a long job.
Keep it simple,
Yeah,
indeed.
Keep it try and simple.
And what do you think differentiates you from the other 19 people out there?
I think I am at a good stage for somebody to give me mentorship and guidance. Like I mentioned before, you know, somebody's already got a really big portfolio, they're set in their ways and they may not align with John's interests and the way he wants to move forward with this partnership.
So I've got a big portfolio and I wouldn't say I'm set in my ways. I'm always looking to adapt and grow my strategies.
But not everybody always is, you know, it depends on the kind of person. I am a really personable person, you know, I get on with a lot of people, really confident, I will give everything a go and I always champion a can-do attitude, you know. One of my mottos always in life, and I tell my children this as well, nothing's impossible. If you look at the word, it actually says I'm possible.
That's great. Rima, thank you very much for coming today. Good luck in getting into the final 10.
Next is Oliver Glynn, one of our younger contestants, who says he's degree educated and has a solid foundation in construction project management, having worked in the sector for 7 years. He says he knows what it takes to design, build and maintain successful projects.
Hi Oliver, thank you for coming along today. Do you want to explain to us why you're here, why you applied, what you're looking to achieve?
The reason I'm here is because I need sort of a mentor and some guidance. I think one of the reasons I've been quite successful in sort of progressing in my job role because I've had good mentors. So I think if you surround yourself with good people, then you tend to sort of be successful yourself.
Tell us about the deal that you're doing at the moment. You don't need to say where it is, but
yeah, so it's in Iver, which is in Buckinghamshire,
yep.
Just outside of sort of West London where I live. It's a Victorian terraced cottage. Purchased it last year in August, and yeah, we're basically just adding some value. It was defunct. We've put in a loft conversion. Sort of totally going open plan on the ground floor, some structural work, and it's self-funded by myself and my brother, but we're doing a lot of the work ourselves to keep the cost down, pretty much.
But it's 8 months on now and not finished, so sounds like it's taken quite a while.
Yeah, so although we actually had the offer accepted in August, it was a delayed completion because it was a probate. So we wasn't actually told at the time by the vendor. When my solicitor started going and speaking to theirs, we found out that it was. They had originally advised them to not even bring it to market.
And what have you learnt from doing that, your first project?
I suppose go right down to the nuts and bolts of when I'm costing it. I mean, I work in construction anyway, so like I've done like a full scope of works with quants, know how to apply all of that sort of stuff from learning at a university.
And how are you going to find me deals?
So I'm speaking to agents. I've got a decent relationship with the agent who sort of not sourced, but who I was dealing with for the first one.
Yep.
So she's currently looking for our next deal. I'm hoping to get that off market. I've got some opportunities coming up there. And then, yeah, I'm going to a lot of networking events at the moment. I've been to 4 or 5 in the last 3 months. So speaking to people, seeing what deals are out there.
Okay. Sorry.
And how are you going to juggle, you know, you obviously have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And you say you've been to kind of 4 or 5 networking events in the past 3 months. I was going to 4 or 5 a week when I started, just for comparison. But I didn't have a full-time job, so that's why I could do it. How are you going to juggle that?
But I think if you're passionate about something and you enjoy it and you don't see it as a job, you'll always find the time to look for the deals, which is...
Yeah. Oliver, thank you very much for coming in today.
Thank you for having
making the effort, and good luck in getting into the top 10.
Emma Fielding from Barnsley is a 25-year-old property investor. In her application she put, "My longer-term goal is to buy large plots of land, game planning and build medium to large-scale residential developments."
Was this something you always wanted to do to get into property, or were you interested in something else?
Yeah, it was absolutely something I've always wanted to do. So, I started actually in corporate world, but, saying that, I actually thought I'd get in property when I was in my 40s, not at the age of 25. So things have come a little bit quickly than what I thought, but I absolutely love property and I'm obsessed by it. So, I'm really excited for this opportunity.
So, hi Emma, welcome to Property Graduate. Really pleased that you've made your way here today.
Thank you.
I'm just curious, just reread your what you've shared with us so far. How would you spend £1 million in property right now if you had access to those funds for a deal?
Right now, I'm actually looking at an off-market opportunity in Barnsley, where I'm based. I know the area very well, and it's a commercial to residential opportunity. The property is actually derelict and has been for a number of years, and that the council are actually wanting to obviously put that into some good use, as it is prime land. So definitely the £1 million and the refurbishment money would be done with that deal.
And if you're not successful on the show, how else would you fund that?
I actually have started working with private angel investors, so I would be willing to work with them on the deal if this opportunity didn't come off.
You know all your numbers. What's your weakness and what's going to be your challenge?
So probably my real weakness is that I'm quite demanding at times. I like things done yesterday, which can either be a positive or a negative.
Excuse me, can I stop you? Who does that remind me of?
And I guess all my trades and kind of, my support around me would say, yeah, she is quite demanding at times, but it means that I get things done quickly and I get things done in the right way as well.
But there's a clever part of that.
Yeah.
It's not just about having your foot flat on the accelerator all the time.
Yeah.
You need to ease off, push, ease off, and all the rest of it, which I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
What's the biggest GDV or size of deal you've done so far?
So I've got one in the pipeline at the minute. Purchase price is 264.5 for a 2-bed detached bungalow on a prime location in Barnsley, one of the most desirable streets. We'll be turning that into a 4-bed detached bungalow, and that GDV will be around £500,000.
What will the cost be?
The cost will be just under 100, including stamp and legals. So yeah, we'll do all right. And we've got investor funding on that one. But I'm actually personally putting in for the refurb and the stamp and the legals.
Great, skin in the game. We like that a lot.
Emma, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Look forward to hoping and seeing how things progress during the day, and hopefully you might be in the top 10.
So you think it went well overall?
I would say yes, I think so, but I always think I can say more and explain more in more detail. So I think that's something I may need to work on.
Michael Ho describes himself as a self-styled pugilist. That's a boxer, stating in his application, "I'm confident in my ability to successfully achieve my goals, yet humble enough to know I have a lot of work to do to make my dreams a reality."
Michael, thank you very much for coming in. I've read your bio with great interest. You do a lot of talking in your bio about all sorts of different scenarios and your successes. You mentioned humble at the end, but there's not much humble up till then about your bio. So tell us a bit about what you've done so far and what you hope to do in the future.
Sure. So in terms of humble, I come from very humble beginnings. Mm-hmm. My parents actually came here during the Vietnam War with nothing more than the clothes on their back.
Fantastic.
And they've really inspired me to try to make the best out of myself. Good. They brought up 5 children and built up their own property portfolio themselves. And this has really inspired me to go into the world of property. Brilliant. Previously, I went to the 5th largest university in the world, as well as
Which one's that?
Imperial College London. They were the 5th best at the time I graduated, where they are
all
now.
All gone downhill since, has it?
Who knows? I haven't checked lately, to be honest with you. Before I started working for myself in the property world, I bought my first property 7 years ago in Canning Town. And as you may be aware, they were undergoing a massive regeneration project in the value of £3.7 billion. So I invested in a 2-bed property, knowing that getting a lodger into the second room would more than cover my mortgage costs, and that I'd also get a large amount of capital appreciation later on down the line as well. Since then, I've held various roles in the property world, everything from property rental management to property developing, investing, as well as project construction management as well.
Okay, thank you. So how are you going to find us deals to do?
Sure. So over the years, I've built up a network of trusted estate agents.
Yep.
I also very active in the auction market as well.
Are you?
And I've also actually developed a platform with my developers out in India that essentially takes in all of the online deals that are currently on sale, cross-references them with the rental prices, and then it gives me a very rough sort of ROI figure
I don't know about
on these
you,
deals.
but all this online business, I know you can argue that I'm a bit of a dinosaur, but I mean, if it's online, everyone knows about it, don't they?
Exactly.
That's the problem. We need to think outside the box, in my view.
Definitely.
We may want to sell them through your online stuff, but we want to find them elsewhere, don't we, Fiona?
Wherever a deal's hiding, that's where I want to find them.
Yeah,
You've got to get out there and hustle. You've got to be a deal bloodhound. That's the thing.
A deal bloodhound.
Love that.
Trademark, Fiona Talbot.
Fiona Talbot.
Deal bloodhound.
Deal bloodhound.
We're looking for a deal bloodhound. Are you a deal bloodhound?
I am, yeah. And then that's very much what I'm spending most of my time doing now. So it's really a case of just fostering and nurturing relationships and building new relationships with
Okay,
people.
and Michael, you're full-time, are you?
I am indeed, yes. So I don't have
So what are you
distractions of
doing?
another job. So most of the time I am building up my network to find people that are potentially looking to sell their property. I'm very active on LinkedIn. I'm also managing my own properties at the moment, as well as the properties of some of my friends and family and other third-party network.
Okay. Good. All right. Well, Michael, thank you very much for coming in today, and good luck being in the top 10.
Thank you for having me.
Good luck, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, have a great day.
So were the judges then impressed by what you've got going on and the variety that you do?
I'd hope so, yes. They did mention something about my application, saying how I've tried to be humble, and they said I wasn't very humble. But I've tried to sort of dial it back and then try to agree with them in some ways. I'd like to think I impressed them, and I'd love to impress them if I got through to the next round as well.
Our next hopeful is Wendy Sneddon, who has travelled all the way down from Scotland to take part. She says her plans are to grow a small investment fund so I can help others to get started and grow their portfolio too.
Wendy, welcome, and you've come all the way from Scotland today. Did you fly down today or yesterday? Or?
Yep, I was up at 3 o'clock this morning.
I'll tell you what, that is commit. That's it. Fiona's impressed. Fiona's impressed.
Well, you look very fresh for the early start.
Thank you.
So
Lots of coffee.
Thank you so much for coming down and showing that commitment, and that's absolutely fantastic. Tell us a bit about what you do at the moment property-wise, and how you think you're going to find us deals going forward.
So got some buy-to-lets, some serviced accommodation, commercial property, and we are in the process of purchasing an old police station, which we're turning into a CMO, serviced offices, business lounge, that type of thing. And we're also just about to purchase a country house near Inverness, which will become serviced accommodation as well. So those are the kind of things that I really enjoy doing. I think what I would like to do going forward is some of the bigger deals. So starting to look at, apartments, maybe more new builds, that kind of thing.
Okay, great. Well, the good news, for me anyway, it took me 34 years, 43 years I should say, but I've finally done a deal in Scotland. So that's great.
Fantastic.
And you talk about wanting to grow a small investment fund. That's the long-term goal, is it?
Yes. I would love to be the bank eventually, and help young people starting out in property get a kind of foot on the ladder. Thinking about all the things I struggled with when we were getting started, and how we could make that journey easier.
Yeah, and one of those struggles is actually finding the deals. How do you go about finding the deals?
A number of things. We use the traditional online online estate agents. We've got people in our network that do sourcing, so occasionally they'll put things our way. Just trawling the area and looking for empty properties. I love finding an empty property and then tracking down the owner, and then seeing if there's a deal to be done. I've got 2 empty properties that I've found at the moment. I've got the owners, have written out to them, spoken to the empty homes officers at the councils, and so we're just trying to see how we can get these properties back on the market.
I've had a bit of a crash course on Scottish property law in the last few weeks, but also there does seem to be a lot of opportunities in Scotland at the moment, perhaps more so than probably in England. Is that what you, are you going to continue just looking in Scotland and doing deals in Scotland?
I think there's lots of opportunities in Scotland. I would like to do deals elsewhere.
And so your business partner is your sister, is that correct?
Yes.
So how would she feel if you won this, run this program and then you were working with John Howard over the next 12 months?
So my sister still works full time, and the next couple of deals that we're working on will help her to kind of get out of her job, and she'll probably focus on looking after our business. I'm sure she'll be right behind me, John, I'm sorry.
Not at all, not at all.
We're a great double act.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah,
exactly.
we're a great double act. So yeah, she'll look after what we've got already, and yeah, we'll be an extra pair of hands.
Yeah. Excellent.
You talk about intuition
Yes.
in your bio.
Yeah.
Can you give us an example of how or when you've used that?
Probably when I go around a property,
Right.
and I'll get a gut feeling whether it would work or not. And I know you're not supposed to get emotional about deals, but there's a little bit of emotion that comes into, could I live here? And that's kind of how it's worked for me so far.
And it's worked. So, I mean, whatever works for you, that doesn't work for me. I've got no emotion whatsoever when I go around a property.
Yeah.
Does £1 million go a long way in Scotland?
Yes, a long, long way.
That's great. Thank you, Wendy.
Wendy, thank you for making such an effort today.
My pleasure.
Much appreciated. And let's hope you're in the top 10.
Wendy, you've come all the way from Edinburgh for this today. Was it worth the travel?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Great experience with the panel, and then just meeting lots of new contacts as well. So that's been really nice. The networking's been great.
James Quick studied psychology at university, but his goals are to change the property industry. His dissertation focused on the future of sustainability.
You studied psychology, so do you think that can help you a little bit with figuring out John and his associates?
I think with the people side, definitely. That was one of the reasons I actually took psychology, because I thought it was a chance to do something that wasn't quite a standard. Like I said, doing a degree in economics or business is kind of the route that everyone takes. So doing psychology definitely taught me the side of monitoring people's behaviours a lot more. It gives me an approach to be able to understand that side of things. But yeah, I think it definitely gives me something different compared to the other candidates.
So James, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Would you like to tell us why you've applied? Because you're still at university, right?
I'm indeed, yeah. My master's ticket. I've actually got an exam on the date of the next round, so let's hope that we can balance those two, because it'd be quite interesting.
Well, it's interesting because you wrote here, I want to show you all that you haven't found the best UK graduates just yet. And I wondered about Alfie, because obviously he's last year's winner, how he would feel about that statement. So what do you want to say to back that up?
Well, I think it's obviously you compare to the similar likes. So he was obviously, I assume, one of the youngest on the show, if not the youngest.
Yeah.
And I could safe say that I'm probably the same now. So I'd say that he's my direct competition, isn't he, really?
Well,
And
that's not why he won. He won because he was the best candidate for multiple reasons.
Yep, and he's proved it over the last 9 months.
Definitely.
Exactly.
What have you done? How can you demonstrate your commitment to property to us so far?
Initially, obviously, like you see, I took psychology. It was kind of one of them ones that I had a bit of a panic in going to university. It was like, what do I study? And then I thought, realistically, I'm always into people. That's always been my thing. I've been chatty as from however old, always waffling my head off, which I get told off for many times when I was young. But it's one of them ones that I've had multiple times in my last few years where I've had major commitments. I started my business. I've had investing, some highs and some serious lows just in my own hands. And I think coming out of university, I'm in the prime time to commit to something.
How are you going to find us property deals?
If you've got the skill to be able to go out and chat, anything's achievable. Like if you speak to anyone, if you can have a conversation full stop and you've got the social side, I don't see any limit to that. So I think if you gave me 12 months, I've got 12 months completely free. I've got no commitments like the other candidates.
But I'm not paying you in those 12 months, Dave.
Exactly.
You're saying we should choose you and let you win that £1 million fantastic prize because you're a good chatter.
You know what, to some degree, I still say it is a people industry. So I would back my statements to that. I'd say I've got the number.
Not financial analysis, not deal analysis, not deal bloodhounding, chatting.
I think my master's shows that I've got the data analysis skills enough. I've been doing spreadsheets for the last weeks, every day, 12-hour days to get my assignments done. So with regards to that, I've got the foundations there. I just think in my role, all I hear from experts is the people side, sorry. So that's my main focus.
It is a people business, but like Fiona says, you do need that balance as well. And you say your goals are to change the property industry in some way.
Indeed.
How?
I think every time you listen to podcasts and every video I watch, it's always the standards, commercial flips, residentials and all this stuff. And I've heard it so many times, I feel like the BRRRR strategy is ingrained in my brain now. But with regards to moving forward, I think my dissertation's on sustainability. I read in sustainability all the time, which I think that's the way the industry is going. The only problem is right now is if costs can be realised in that. Obviously the prices aren't reflecting the efforts that people are making to try and get the sustainability involved. So I think give it time. I think the fact that I'm in an age where obviously everything's changing at the minute, I feel like I'm quite clued up with how it's all changing.
No, I don't disagree.
I'd like to move on to forward where we could have something in the sustainability world that is changing and proves that the UK is the leader in that format.
Aniki Oluwazami is about to retire from her job as a doctor. She says with time on her hands, she can look for suitable properties to transform and add value.
You're a doctor and you're retiring, according to the submission that you made as part of coming onto the show.
That's right.
Which is great. And thank you for everything you've done for us during the pandemic.
Welcome.
And I did check you out a little bit before coming. And you're published, aren't you? You publish in your medical field, is that right?
Yes, I have a few publications.
You have a few publications, yeah. I saw that.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
I'm just wondering, what did you learn about me before you came on the show? What kind of research did you do before coming here today?
Know you to be Fiona?
And we all know John, so...
Yeah, I know you to be Fiona, Chorley, and that you started from the beginning, so you kind of work your way up property ladder. Maybe you started with 4,000, which I think is very impressive.
So you did do a bit of research about
yes.
myself and Helen and the other people?
Yes, and about Helen as well,
Okay.
about the three of you.
And when you say you've dabbled in property, how do you see that changing if you were to be successful in this role?
So now that I have more time on my hand, so I'm going to put in more legwork and more handwork and more brains, and so be able to do more because I'll have more time to buy maybe bigger properties and do it up, make some money doing it, and then sell and recycle it.
And how would you go about sourcing those deals?
Auction is a good place to buy. I bought and sold at auctions in the past. Estate agent, I know a few estate agents that I bought from and sold with them as well.
Yep.
So I do have some contact there. There's some online website that I advertise properties, especially commercial properties, which is where we're kind of leaning into. So to be checking those websites as well.
A lot of the deals we buy are after the auctions.
Okay.
And so on. So I'm glad to hear that. Fiona.
So if you make it through to round 2, you'll be facing Helen and myself, and we'll be giving you a deal in which you'll have a short time to analyse that deal, break it down and come back and present. How do you feel about that? Do you feel comfortable in that setting or in that zone, or do you feel that will be a struggle? Because it could be anything. It could be land, it could be care home, it could be a commercial, it could be residential, anything.
Yeah, I'm ready for the challenge. I pay attention to details and I'm good with numbers as well.
I expect you are.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Helen, any more questions?
No, it's lovely to meet you, Aniki.
Same here.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank
and
you.
good luck
Thank
getting through to next round.
Thank you.
Great
Thank
to meet you.
Next up to face the panel is George Murphy, who's the youngest contestant to ever apply to the property graduate. He's only 17. He says, "I don't have dreams, I have goals, and I know that I'm able to achieve those goals with the right people in my corner."
Now, we thought that Alfie, who was our property graduate winner, he was our youngest contestant last year. You're younger than him, you're only 17. How do you think you're going to feel when you go in there?
Confident. I go to a lot of property events sort of things, and I find that with my age I'm often overlooked and not taken seriously sort of thing, but I find that with my lack of experience I have a heck of a lot more passion and determination and drive, and that's what I'm going to play on in the interview sort of thing, show them that I am serious, I do want to be a property developer and that I'm here for a reason.
George, thank you so much for coming in today to see us. 17 years old?
Yeah.
Well, you
17.
were when you wrote that. Are you 18 yet?
No, not yet.
When
no.
are you 18? When are you 18?
November.
November, goodness me. So tell us a bit about what you're doing at university or college at the moment and what your ambitions are.
I don't actually go to college. I work an apprenticeship.
Right, very good.
I'm doing that for the next 2 years. And then I own 2 businesses as well on the side. So I own a landscaping company.
Right,
and,
very good.
Yeah, I also, I've set up a property development company earlier this year.
Wow.
And we haven't actually started trading properties as such yet, but I run a sort of a blog through that company.
Right.
That I've monetised. So yeah, after the 2 years, that's what I'd like to go and take up full time.
Your landscaping company, is that,
Yeah.
it's not just that you mow people's grass?
No, actual...
It's proper...
Yeah, landscaping.
I'm more interested in monetising a property blog when you've never done a deal. I think you could teach me a thing or two there, George.
I'd like to know, you're 17, so, you know, you need to go and see a deal. You need to do a walkthrough. How are you going to get there? The bus, the train,
No,
your mum?
I drive.
Oh, okay.
He drives?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well done you, George.
A property development company that's not done anything, and you're making money from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So our blogs, our most recent one, we tend to do market updates. So we like to come back every quarter to different cities and counties over the UK, seeing how the property market's doing in that sort of area. And how it works is it's a sort of paywall. So we have a group, and then our customers pay for access towards those to those market updates as such.
Goodness me, George, you're putting me to shame here. This is embarrassing. So how are you going to go about this company we're going to form and everything else, George? How are you going to go about finding deals for us?
I don't like the idea of direct to vendor. I don't think that's very good
No,
at
me
all.
neither. Waste of time as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
but go on.
Most likely through a property sourcer, so through a sourcing agency.
Yeah.
I already have a contact through a sourcer, through an event I went to last month. And we started to build a bit of a relationship. So hopefully when I have the money, either through this or through my own ventures as such, go through him.
Okay, well, I think the thing is, George, you need more than one. And over the years, I've had a number of very good property. They're called property sourcers now. In my day, they're called deal finders. But you need quite a few of those, in my view. And you also need to make your own contacts with agents, commercial agents especially. Fiona is the queen at that. So we're going to ask for Fiona now.
How did you get an interest in property at such a young age?
Yeah.
What lit the spark?
My mum works in asset management, and I remember going to work with her, and she's dealing with properties, you know, and it sort of all started from there, really. I would walk, I'm from Surrey, and there's a lot of countryside, and I would walk through the countryside often and think, you know, how many houses can I put there, or what can I turn this into, sort of thing, and it's just that imagination, and here I am today.
And you say John Howard is the man you want to be.
Yeah.
I'm not sure my wife would agree with that. But,
I know that John bought his first house at 18. That's still my goal. And I just want to progress from there. I want to be a successful property developer like John Howard.
George, thank you so much for coming in today. You are an inspiration to young people, and congratulations for, you know, having the balls to come today as well, because it's not easy. And you've been a real credit to yourself and your family, so well done. And let's fingers crossed for the top 10. Well
and
done.
looking forward to watching your star rise over the next 5 to 10 years.
I think you're going to go far, George.
Thank
well
you, I
done,
appreciate
George.
it.
Thank you.
Kelly Walker is a lady who wants to kick out the stereotypes of being just a mum and prove what I can achieve, she says.
Hi, Kelly. Welcome to Property Graduate.
Hi.
You say you want to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, so tell us about you.
Yeah.
Now's your chance.
Okay.
Tell us what you were missing.
Yeah, sorry about that. So yeah, I work in the travel industry, where I've worked from day one coming out of school. You probably remember Lumpolly, the horrible red uniform. I used to sit as a little Lumpolly dolly in a travel agency, and I absolutely love the travel industry. Have done all that time, but I know it. And although I've been in many roles, many challenging roles, been part of great teams, I've led big and small teams,
I'm bored of it, if I'm honest with you now. It's still in me. If you cut me in half, I've got holidays inside, for sure.
Me too. Me too.
Listen, you're not the only one. Helen spends half her life on holiday.
Well,
so don't worry about that.
I aspire to be. So, you know, I think I've done 20 odd years of working in the corporate world, and, you know, I'm now ready to move on and do another 20 odd years, but on my terms.
Good for you. Good for you.
So that's the focus.
Okay. Love that ambition, Kelly.
Yeah.
And you said you want to kick out the stereotypes of being just a mum.
Yeah, so I've got 2 young children. I've been very lucky in my roles in the corporate world, where I've been able to, you know, do some school drop-offs and pick-ups and be around, but it's not the same as being your own boss or having a more flexible role. You know, as soon as you send them back to school in May, they're off again for the summer, and you've got 6 weeks worth of childcare to find, and I'm pushing them from pillar to post to grandparent, and that's not what I want for me as a mum, and that's not what I want for my children. I want myself, and I know other mums would feel the same, to have that choice.
Yeah.
You know, to spend that time with them.
And there's so many women doing it. I don't have kids, but there's so many women in our Property Sisters community that are smashing it out the field. So there's lots of people showing that it can be done, and it's not easy. They actually make it look easy. It's not easy. We know, that, but
I'm
it can
a real
be done.
hard worker in my role. I'm really motivated. I've got loads of energy. I want to do really well. I have done well in my career. I have, but it just doesn't quite fit the family mould. And you know, you blink and they've grown up. I don't want to miss
Fiona,
anything.
you've got that challenge as well, haven't you?
Well, all I keep hearing is, you know, outcome, freedom, kids drop off and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But what I'm interested in is what then made you choose property as the vehicle to help you to achieve that?
So when I was 20, which is a long time ago, I became a bit of an accidental investor and an accidental landlord. I'm married to my partner who I was with when I was 20, and he didn't want to leave the comfort of his mum and dad's house, so I had to force him out to buy a property together. So we bought something, and without even trying or thinking, we painstakingly did it up ourselves. You know, where our friends were out night clubbing, we were scraping wallpaper on a Saturday night, and we made an absolute shed load of money. It was meant to be our home, and you know, at the end of a project, you get an estate agent round. How much is it worth? And we were like, whoa! For 2 20-year-olds, we'd added a huge amount of money.
Good for you.
We just bought right, and without knowing or without trying. So we thought, well, actually, living at home isn't so bad. We'll take the money. And we then bought another property, exactly the same again. That was going to be our home as a couple. And right at the end of that project, our friends were going backpacking around the world, and we thought we can probably put this on hold. So we rented that property out, literally packed our bags and went off to Australia. I didn't know how to be a landlord. I didn't even have a friend who rented a property out. You know, I knew nothing about it. There's no Google, no podcasts, but we rented this property out. And whereas other backpackers that we met were going from pot noodle to pot noodle and trying to stay in the cheapest accommodation, we had money from our first house and a rental income from our second house without trying. And we were like, actually, there's something here. So when we returned a year and a half later, you know, had the time of our lives out there, but we came back, we bought 6 or 7 buy-to-lets, did the same thing again, you know, nice house, nice street, bad house, nice street, you know, and just kept going. And we've got most of those properties still now.
Brilliant.
Did a couple of flips. I mean, we probably didn't do any of it correctly. We probably made lots of mistakes. Didn't always enjoy it. But we had the enthusiasm, and we were always looking for. It's funny. I said to my husband the other day, we're looking for the future, and the future's now. We've done well. But we're in that future now. So it's now what can I do next? And
well, the answer is, can you find me deals?
Yeah.
That's my question.
She could book you a holiday from the sounds of it.
I don't take holidays. I don't take holidays.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the sales background that I've come from or the customer service background I've come from, but I'm very inquisitive. I'm looking, you know, we went out for a walk yesterday. I had a page of notes when I came back about, let's just make sure what's going on there. It's just the way that I am. So the one thing I will say that I think is an attribute of mine is within the travel industry, they teach you from day one that it's all about relationships. And I've had years worth of that account management and building relationships with customers, and I think that has done me well in property. We had a break for about I had a break for about 8 years when I had the children. We haven't touched property because our world got turned upside down. Once you have kids, everything goes crazy. But more recently, now I'm focused that this is how I want my life to look. I've bought a couple of flips and I bought a couple more buy-to-lets.
Good for you. Brilliant.
But I genuinely think I can sit down. I'm not saying everybody's going to love me at all, but I think it is about relationship. People.
It is. It's totally about relationship. It is totally. Yeah. And in my estate agencies we have a lot of people who come from the travel industry into estate agency, and you can see why, because there's a lot of similarities with it.
So my question's around bandwidth. So you're still working full time, still have children?
Still have children, yeah.
Yeah.
I work part time. With what I've done over the ones I've just mentioned, I feel confident that I can walk away from my job now. I probably will. I enjoy it to a degree, but I know that it's restricting me because there are only so many hours in the day.
It does restrict you, but I'm always conscious of concerned about people walking away from their job. I know you probably financially don't need the job, but even so, because it gives you that income, that stability. And property can be a lonely place. It can be lonely out there on your own. And although we'll be working together, you'll be on your own at it really, finding deals, and we'll be Zooming each other and meeting up now and again, I'm sure. Okay, Helen, any?
What's the biggest challenge you've kind of overcome or you've come across in what you've done so far? Because you're clearly very active. And you're out there and you're,
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to paint a complete sunny picture. We did have a couple of things that went wrong. We had a tenant that we needed to evict.
We've all had one of them. Don't worry about that.
I mean, that was harsh for us. I was still quite young then. I was only 25, 26. And
it never worries me.
It was, it did at the time when the bailiff was standing outside and I was hiding behind the wall watching them knock on the door. And then we did buy a bit of a duffer. I bought a property that had a plot next door, got planning permission, went through, we sold the plot, but the house, it was a bit of a thorn in my side for a period of time. It was quite old. We hadn't properly got some money aside to invest into it. It was fine, it worked out in the end. But I think when I look back now, if I'd have made that decision today, that would have been a complete success, I would hope, because
well, that's experience, and you learn more from your, it doesn't sound it's that much of a mistake, to be fair, but you learn more from things that go wrong than things go right. So I think we've all got plenty of stories like that, I can assure you. Kelly, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you.
And you've started off very modestly, and then you've come out with lots of deals that you've done, which is brilliant. So well done, Kelly, what you've done so far, and good luck to get in the final 10.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Kelly.
Last up is Alexandra Echidor, an actress who has worked in a surveying firm and who says it would be great fun playing real-life Monopoly together as a team.
How are you feeling then about facing the judges?
I'm excited. I follow them all on LinkedIn and I like reading through their posts, so it would be nice to finally meet them in person.
Do you have much experience of property developing?
No, none whatsoever. I have worked in estate agents in the past. I know bits and bobs, but I would love to learn a lot more.
Hello, Alexandra.
Hello.
Welcome to Property Graduate. So you're a trained actor.
Yes.
And you also work part-time in property. So tell us about that and why you think you'd be a great winner.
Okay, so I'm the partnership manager for a chartered surveying firm in Kingston upon Thames, so Greater London. I trained acting at university as well as college, so it's one of my passions. And I also worked in property whilst I was at university, so that's where I started.
Right, okay. And why do you think you'd make an excellent property graduate?
I think I would make an excellent property graduate because I'm very hardworking, I'm steadfast, tenacious, I never give up, and I do my best at every task that I'm given.
Well, they are certainly skills that you will need in the world of property for sure. I'm sure you know that because you work in a chartered surveying firm already. And what type of thing do you do for them?
So I liaise with law firms, solicitor firms, mortgage advisors, blue chip national companies. I literally just passed my probation and I was promoted and they sent me off to MIPIN in Cannes. So
what? They did what?
I represented the company in Cannes.
Wow.
Can I just say something? That's very impressive. I got booked to speak at MIPIM,
Yeah.
and I got very excited. In fact, 2 years running, I got booked to speak at MIPIM, but it turned out to be the one at Olympia in November, not the one in Cannes. So I thought, that's great. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, do carry on. Sorry.
And actually, you've done something I've not done. I haven't made it to MIPIM yet because of COVID and what have you. So anybody wants to invite me, just DM me.
No one's invited me.
It was an incredible experience.
It must have been. Yeah,
I learned so much. And I also came back with some really good contacts.
I was
for the
going to
company.
say, that's the one thing I wanted to hear from you. Now, Fiona, what do you think?
What I'd like to know is, what is it that attracts you to working with John as a business partner?
I understand that, John, you've been in the business for a long time, so you know
Yes.
exactly what you're doing, and you know the best way to do everything, essentially.
Well, I'm always learning.
Yeah.
Because things change. But on the whole, I like to think I could have done better, but I've done relatively well.
In my application, I said I would like to stand on the shoulder of giants. So like yourself, I'd like to learn from you. I would be able to give my all, and I would also be able to essentially look at situations from a creative perspective, and that's where the drama and theatre come in. And then with the property side of things, I would like to learn a lot from you. So I think it would be good for me to become a partner in that sense.
Okay. Well, of course, there's £1 million to spend. How would you go about spending it?
So a work and living space.
Yep.
Designed for creatives. So almost like a members only club, but in partnership with someone like the Arts Council. So you know, everyone has heard of the struggling actor, so to speak. So as opposed to leaving them to their own devices, a building that caters to all their needs, in the sense that it would have a brasserie area, rec rooms for recording, that sort of thing.
Are we going to make any money out of it?
I was about to say, what's
Fiona,
the revenue?
Pass. Fiona's far better at saying that than I am.
At the
Go
tip
on,
of my
Fiona.
tongue.
Yeah.
And how would you monetize that? What would the profit centres be?
So the same way members only clubs have a membership on an annual basis or an annual fee, it would be something similar to that sort of scheme.
We wish you well. Thank you for coming along today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And good luck.
Thank you. Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Bye, Alexandra.
How did it go in there? Do you think you're impressed?
I'd like to hope so. It was incredibly exhilarating. I didn't expect them to be as friendly as they are. It was really nice. I didn't feel as scared once I was in front of them, I don't think.
So there you have it. And John has surprised us by only putting 4 contestants through and not 5.
Rima went first.
She did, and that's always a hard
Tough
task,
job.
isn't it? Yeah.
Really nice lady.
Lovely lady.
Yeah.
Super enthusiastic. Great people person. Is she ready for this type of opportunity right now?
I disagree with the fact that in the last year that there weren't deals to be found. I think there were deals to be found. You just need to hustle harder.
Yeah, I see that. I my only concern with her is her slight lack of experience, really. But then, the show is open to everyone,
Absolutely,
whether experience or not.
absolutely.
And we've got young George, for instance, who's got even less at 17. So, but okay. Well, we'd think about her. And Oliver, in construction at the moment, done a house up with his brother.
Took far too long, in my view. But I guess he got it completed in January, but I always worry that that's at risk that entire time. I think he was very well presented, looked smart, dressed smart.
Yeah, had a tie on. We like that.
He would, mix well in property networking,
Yes,
property
I
sourcing
agree.
with agents and things like that.
And serious about the job as well.
Yeah, it's whether he's got the bandwidth to be able to do this.
He'd be
and
very solid on
juggle.
the construction side,
Which
which is one of most developers' weaknesses, to be fair.
Absolutely.
So, okay, and then we've got Emma Fielding. Emma Barnsley.
She was the standout for me of this group.
Yeah.
Thought she was really well presented. She's running and growing a property business. She's promoting herself online. She's got investors. She's doing multiple deals. For an asset builder person who is growing a property company, it's curious that she chooses to trade and sell, but to each their own. And I know that that's what you're looking to do as part of this.
Absolutely. I'm not interested in keeping deals. All due respect.
Will she listen though?
Well, I mean, if we put her through to the next round, it'll be interesting to see how she gets on with the deal analysis.
Yeah,
exactly.
Is she as good as we think we are?
Yeah.
Last year, if you remember, we had people who we thought were going to be really good, and it all went.
They fell apart in the second round. Some of them, bless them,
couldn't cope with the pressure.
Yeah. So,
and we all know that pressure is a privilege.
I think the first round is all about personality
Yeah,
fit,
I
and
agree.
she fits. Her
Yeah,
personality
she does.
fits.
Yeah, I
round
agree.
2
I
is
agree.
technicals.
Okay.
Does she have the technicals?
I agree. Michael Ho, Michael?
I liked him. I think he was well presented. He is spending time learning his craft.
Yep.
He presented well, and he really seemed to want the opportunity.
I think he came across better than his bio, to be fair.
I agree.
He came a bit cocky in his bio, but I actually think when we met him, he's a very nice man.
Yes.
And his parents have got property, and he understands how hard and difficult it can be, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we've got Wendy, who's come all the way from Scotland.
Yes, long way, bless her, 3 a.m. this morning.
Fantastic. Experienced. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm keen to do more in Scotland as well, which might make me slightly biased, and you need to pull me in on that a little bit. Probably you two do, maybe. But an interesting candidate, older, more experienced. But that's nothing wrong with that.
She works with her sister, so I have a feeling you get 2 for the price of 1 in that package.
May well do.
A real property sister.
Yeah, a real property sister. Boom. You got that in, didn't you? James.
He's young and he's kind of idealistic.
Had a lot to say for himself, didn't he?
His sustainability. Again, is this the right timing for him to be going in?
Still at school, so I worry about bandwidth.
Well, he's doing a PhD or something, wasn't he?
Masters, I think.
Masters.
Yeah.
Where does that come? Masters comes before PhD.
Before PhD, yeah.
So okay, that's James. Well, we can have a think about that. And then we got the very engaging doctor.
Aniki.
Yeah.
Yes.
She warmed up, didn't she?
She really did, bless her. Bless her.
She did warm up. I mean, actually, when we got out of it, that she's done 7 or 8 deals. In Bristol, will she be able to analyse deals like we wanted to? Who knows? I mean, that's why we have a second round, and it's that's why we do the second round and why we do it like we do. So,
and being a doctor is a very it's a big job, lots of responsibility, lots of time, and she's still managed to do the property on the side
it's impressive.
Throughout all that, and including the pandemic times, which have required more out of those people.
I agree.
I mean, she's been good at finding, though, what the type of deal that she wants to do. Can she be able to find the type of deal that you want to do?
Good area. I like Bristol. Done a lot of stuff down there, and I think she's the sort that would keep relatively close to her area, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
No one else to spread themselves all over the country if they don't want to. Young George, 17 years old, not 18 till November.
Well, I think he can teach me a thing or two. So.
Well, I have to say he was impressive for such a young man. I'm not convinced he will find us deals in the short term. That would be my only problem. And the analysis will be interesting. Although he's doing the accountancy type apprenticeship, so
I mean, he's committed, and I can see him going far over the next 10 years or so.
This could be a springboard for him with someone who watches the show thinks like 1 or 2 did last year, who didn't get through to the final 3. They've had a springboard and found backers and people. So,
gone on to do
great things. So that's what the show's all about. And then we've got Kelly, who I thought was very interesting, the mother of 2.
Yes.
Who again started off very modestly, which I like, humble.
Yeah.
And then actually came out with the fact that she's doing this, doing that.
Yeah.
She's remarkable.
Yeah, she's done a lot. Yeah.
She is. She's wearing many hats and doing it well. A bit of a Russian doll as you uncover different things.
Yeah, definitely.
You realise that she's got a lot more going on than you first understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And very people driven.
And very likeable.
Yeah.
And then we got the actress.
Alexandra. Yes.
What are our thoughts with Alexandra?
I think she's got a great personality, very, very bubbly. I just have a concern around her level of experience being quite low, and that she would take more of your time if she was to be the graduate. But will she compensate for that with her outgoing personality and drive?
And she's in the right job.
Yes. Yeah.
She's in the job where she's meeting lots of people. She's been a Cannes more than you and I have.
Yeah.
Either of us have done.
Yeah, exactly.
Fiona, you haven't been there either, have you?
No, but I haven't really wanted to or tried.
No.
I think she isn't kind of actively analysing and looking at deals, and you need that skill.
When we said about analysing deals.
But she was very upfront
Very
about
upfront
that, so
and very engaging.
very open. Yeah.
So I think it's time to get the first 10 back in and to make some decisions. Thank you all very much for coming today. You're the first 10 of 20, as you know, and the standard's been incredibly high. So congratulations to everyone really who has applied and who's made it to the top 20. Can please Emma stand forward, Wendy stand forward, Michael stand forward, and Kelly, would you come forward please? The 4 of you are through to the next round. Congratulations. Thank you to everyone who's here today, and good luck with your property journey going forward.
Thank you. Well done.
Coming up in the next episode, we'll meet the other 10 contestants who will be whittled down to 6, and they, along with the 4 who've made it through today, will go on to the next round called the Challenge. We will see you then.